All right, Roto Grinders, here we are. It's Sunday Fun Day. We're
Right
just
as
gonna
I
do
was asking if my volume was okay, I didn't know you clicked the live button. So appropriately enough, I'll hope that my volume is okay. Do I sound okay to you,
It
EMac?
sounds good. It sounds like a choir of angels.
But it is Sunday Fun Day.
It is, and Saturday night was not a fun Saturday night. Could you believe Phoenix? What did they have? Like 32 points at the half.
Was Saturday night bath night in a different sense last night?
Oh, I took a bath. Not the one I had envisioned. There was not bubbles, wine, or candlelight either. It was not
Little
fun.
bloodshed.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't horrendous, but it wasn't good either. So I don't know. I always think any night that I break even is a good night in NBA because it's so there. Just so many things can go wrong and you can just get creamed. So I usually think of a good night as breaking even, a great night is making anything, and then a bad night is losing anything. And I've for the last month or so just kind of been treading water, trying to make a go of cash games and such. But yeah, it didn't work out too well. My Courtney Lee, he indeed was the Udonis Haslam of the week. But it's okay, Cards, because I've got a new one. I've got a new guy.
I know who it is. Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Jason Thompson.
No.
No. Okay. Are you using Jason Thompson tonight?
Absolutely. Absolutely using Jason Thompson. But he's not my... You got to go lower.
All right. All right. We'll get there when we get there, I guess. I'll take a stab at it when we get to the game that he's involved in.
Yes. Yes. Alrighty, so let's see here. All right, chat's ramping up here. We got a couple hundred people watching. We've got six games now?
Yep.
Not too bad. The early games are going on. I hadn't looked. I didn't have any Miritich, but I had Chris Paul on every lineup. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, the Bulls are in a world of hurt if Butler misses any length of time.
Yeah. Let me see here. All right, let's go with Golden State and Boston first, Cards, because we can talk about one Isaiah Thomas from
My memory escapes me.
University of Washington, perhaps. But let's think about this. He's coming off the bench. Oh, that's so horrible. Actually, it's not. He's getting 30 minutes a game. He's averaging 1.3 fantasy points per game, and he gets all the ball handling, all the scoring duties when he's with the second unit. He's usually in there to close out the games. So 30 minutes is 30 minutes is 30 minutes. He's productive. I like him a lot. He's really the only one I'm looking at on the Boston side. My little fling with Jay Crowder appears to be over today because there is Jason Thompson. But that's kind of it for Boston for me. Who you got on Boston?
Yeah, not a lot here. I do like Thomas, especially on sites where his price hasn't kind of corrected for his production since he got traded to Boston. I think he's okay tonight. Boston's going to need somebody to score if they want to keep up with Golden State. Speaking of your fling with Jay Crowder, I think a lot of people, Brandon Bass was kind of a thing over the last 10 to 14 days. I think maybe that will die down tonight. The last couple games, not the greatest, under 20 DraftKings points in both of those, and only played 20 minutes in the last one. So I do think he's a relatively safe play. It's probably going to get you around 20 to 25, but there are other kind of mid to low range guys that I like a lot better tonight. So I don't think Brandon Bass will kill you, but I don't think he's the optimal play tonight, though. I wouldn't go screaming at you that it's a horrible play if you decide to play him. Kind of the same line of thinking goes with Tyler Zeller, but I think if you're looking for anybody with some upside on Boston and a chance to have a big game, I think Thomas is that guy, even though he is kind of the sixth man. He's going to get 30-plus minutes, like you said.
Yep, that kind of ends it right there. But let's talk Golden State. I was looking at it and I was complaining a little bit that there's no studs in this matchup. There's really not many to choose from. Actually, there are. They're just all hurt, Cards. Which reminds me, didn't go through the injuries. So quickly, Russell Westbrook out, Kevin Durant out, DeMarcus Cousins unlikely, Nerlens Noel iffy, probably out, JaVale McGee going to get a buyout. Don't know if that means he's in or out. Kelly Olynyk is likely out. Enes Kanter, I haven't heard news on. Aaron Gordon is out. Nick Young is out. Anthony Davis is out. Ryan Anderson is out. Darrell Arthur is out. Or is it Darrell Arthur? I don't know.
Darrell, but that's okay.
Solomon Hill and his sniffles will be in. Bismack Biyombo out. Kemba Walker out. And Evan Fournier likely out. But look at that. Westbrook, Durant, Cousins, the Brow.
Yeah. It's not quite as bad as it was last night, but another night where it's difficult, to pay up for some of the studs.
Cards chat is saying they want to see you scream at someone. I've seen you mad once or twice in our 100 shows together. That's it.
Regarding what? I forget.
I'm trying to remember what it was, but you were fired up about something.
No, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was probably something inane. Anyway, back to the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry. Where do you stand on this? He's pretty much the only superstar on the slate.
I like a lot of point guards tonight is the problem. You've got a ton of guys that we'll get to in the other games, I think, that are viable plays at point guard. So I think that's going to make Steph Curry a contrarian option tonight. I don't think he's going to be highly owned. Going up against Marcus Smart, Smart is a pretty good defender, but that's not to say that he's going to stop Steph Curry. I think he's a fine play, and I actually think he's a really good tournament play because I don't think a lot of people are going to have him. I think you're going to see people go after Mo Williams, George Hill coming off a triple-double, DJ Augustine replacing Russell Westbrook, Tyreek Evans going up against Denver. There's Damian Lillard against Sacramento. Tons of good point guards tonight, which I think makes Curry a contrarian option and a pretty good one tonight.
Wait. You were just talking about Curry?
I was.
As contrarian. Okay, so here's my question. How many people are going to pair up DJ Augustine with the top guy and they're just going to land on Curry? I kind of thought that's how most FanDuel lineups were going to be made today. Or is there somebody else you think people will land on?
I think that Mo Williams will be just as popular as Augustine, to be honest. On FanDuel, Williams is under 6K. They're facing Orlando. He's been great the last few games. So I think Augustine and Williams will be your top 2 point guard plays. I think Curry is your 5th or 6th highest owned point guard tonight.
Interesting. Okay. Klay Thompson, you can afford him on FanDuel. You can pretty much get everybody on FanDuel. He's the only other guy I'm looking at. Oh, that's not true. Cards. Draymond Green, back-to-back 40 burgers. You can get him at a small forward on FanDuel, on our sponsor DraftKings. He's a power forward. But 40 burgers, we like those.
Yeah, finally back to kind of where he was producing in, say, January, with those nice across-the-board lines, which are nice to see from Draymond Green. So I think he keeps that going. Really love the price tag on him on DraftKings, where he's, 6.8?
Yes.
Yeah, and against a Boston team that struggles to rebound, sometimes turns the ball over. I like Draymond Green. I think Klay Thompson is a price-based play for me tonight. I don't like him on DraftKings at 7.7, but he's significantly cheaper on some other sites. He's pretty cheap on Fantasy Aces. He's quite a bit cheaper on FanDuel. Those are the sites I'd play Klay Thompson on tonight, not DraftKings.
All right. Anybody else from this game?
I don't think so. Not the game that I have the heaviest exposure to this evening.
All right. That also is good to know. Let's get to Philly and the Pacers. Cards, our little dalliance appears to be over with Isaiah Cannon, does it not?
It does. It does. Ish Smith is the culprit.
Yeah, it's a little sad. That's the same Ish Smith that was with Phoenix 2 years ago,
That's
right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
There are not multiple Ish Smiths in the league.
Just checking.
But yeah, I forget who he was with earlier this year, or if he was even with the team. Maybe he was in the D League somewhere all year.
All I remember is he's really fast. That's all I remember.
Yeah, it's. I think the last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, he's played more minutes than Cannon. Philly's they like to rotate guys in and out. it's hard to develop a consistent rotation. The only guy I was really, really, really high on this morning for Philly was Nerlens Noel, and now I've had to pivot off him everywhere. So it appears like they're likely to hold him out tonight. He's kind of seen the bulk of things break his way with Michael Carter-Williams out of town, KJ McDaniels out of town, 9 blocks, I think, a couple times. But it appears like he's not going to be an option tonight. So against a slow-paced Indiana team on the road, I think there are better matchups than looking at any of the Sixers tonight.
Yes, I ran 2, for whatever reason, early game slates on FanDuel, or all-day slates, and I was busy writing the articles and I wasn't paying attention, and half of them have Nerlens Noel in it. Even as I was writing it up, an article saying, watch out for Noel being out, I had him in my lineups. Curious.
Don't you love it when that happens?
Might as well light that money on fire. But speaking of lighting money on fire, I got nothing for this one, but Jason Richardson, out of nowhere. Is he in play tonight? 3,600. You're laughing. Is he going to get hurt?
No. It's turn back the clock week. It was Bargnani and now Jason Richardson. We're going to talk about Jason Thompson later. What's going on?
Well, Cards, this is what happens when all the good players are hurt.
As I hate to borrow a line from Al, but old man value coming through for us here.
It absolutely is. The more the day goes along, the more intrigued I am on Jason Richardson, on us in particular on DraftKings at 3,600. He needs what, 18, 20 points to hit value for us? Seems doable.
Yeah, I think he's a fine play. I mean, again, like I said, I'm not really targeting Philadelphia, but if you're looking for a value guy, the last 3 games, he's trending upward, 24, 25, 26 minutes, 23-plus fantasy points his last 2 times. So if I was going to look at anybody on the Sixers, he'd probably be the first guy I'd look at, other than, I'm excluding Noel, assuming he's out.
Now, would you consider him over Dion Waiters?
I would not. I don't think you can put him above Dion Waiters.
Okay, just throwing out similarly priced shooting guards. Let's see. I'm not on our favorite Cameroonian tonight.
That ship has sailed as well ever since he broke our hearts last weekend by not playing.
Yeah, it's a little too spendy for me on FanDuel now. He's crept up on DraftKings. I need him to drop about 200 or 300 points, or $200 or $300. Let's talk the Pacers though. George Hill. Did you see he had a 48-pointer the other night on Friday?
Triple-double.
That's pretty awesome. I think he's most definitely in play, and I'd go as far as to say he's in play on all formats today.
Yeah, definitely against the Sixers. Like I said, a lot of point guards to like this evening, with Hill being close to the top of that list. If you're playing on DraftKings, that was 55 fantasy points the other night. 15, 10, and 12, and he's definitely Indiana's best playmaker, the guy most capable of breaking down a defense. The Sixers, as we know, a defense that's easily broken down, and if they don't have Nerlens Noel in the paint to block shots, that's an even bigger upgrade for Indiana's offense tonight.
Yep. Anybody else from Indiana that you like? David West I think he's the sneaky guy. He's literally, since the end of the
Just call him the skanky guy?
No, the sneaky. Sneaky. He's been getting around the low 20s for fantasy points, which we don't like. However, if you take a peek at the standings, the Pacers are 1 game out of the 8th spot.
And what's their record? Are they like 20 games under?
I haven't looked, but it is the East, so potentially. Yeah. All I was carried was how close they were. Because that's the only thing that matters.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But
I was just taking a little pot shot at the Eastern Conference there.
Oh, the Eastern Conference there, yeah. That's low-hanging fruit. It's so low, it's actually underground. David West, he's one of my favorite guys to play, and I haven't played him in so long. I don't know that I'm going to too much tonight, but if you don't believe in Aldridge, or if you're worried about Aldridge, there's really not a lot of other choices that you can spend on over on FanDuel where you need to roster 2 power forwards. So
Yeah,
he's made a couple lineups, especially with he was my Nerlens Noel replacement.
right. I think he's pretty safe. I mean, you normally see him get in that 25 to 30 fantasy point threshold. Has been, like you said, a little bit down of late, but the Sixers should be a nice cure for that.
To answer your question, Indiana is just 10 games below 500.
Just 10.
Just 10.
Meanwhile, you could be above 500 in the West, and you're not even in the playoffs.
The Phoenix, which is the 10th best team in the West, based on record, would be the 7th best in the East. And they'd be breathing down the neck of the 6th best, which is Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Crazy talk. Okay, Roy Hibbert, no. CJ Miles, maybe. Rodney Stuckey, yes.
Yeah, it's hard for me to kind of break down those wings for Indiana. They're all pretty similar to me. Miles, Stuckey. I always seem to peg them wrong. So I don't really have a preference one way or the other. I mean, Miles has been starting, but Stuckey's the guy that's been playing a little bit better. Miles is a little bit cheaper on DraftKings. I don't really have a preference. I'd probably lean towards Stuckey with the fact that he's had the hot hand as well.
Here's an update. Bismack Biyombo is active. Not that it matters for us, but he is active.
I don't think that changes anything.
No, Ennis Cantor still questionable. Oh, I don't think about that. Let me see here. Bogut is active. They're asking in chat if he's not. So, is that it for this game?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably going to be somewhat of an ugly game, and the Pacers could win comfortably. That's not out of the question, especially if Noel is out. Even though it's a good matchup against the Sixers, I don't think loading up on Indiana is maybe the right move. But a guy here or there, I think, is fine.
All right, Portland, Sacramento. Damian Lillard is the main guy. He's going to be going against Ray McCallum and the oldest active player in the NBA, Andre Miller, the professor. He was here in D.C. for a little while, but they traded him. What do you think about Lillard?
I think he's a solid play tonight, kind of right up there with Curry as the top tier of point guards, and should be a safe play. I mean, Aldridge Aldridge hasn't been playing like himself lately. He's had issues with the thumbs, and he's obviously pricey. So if you don't, think Aldridge is going to carry the load right now, obviously a lot more falls on Lillard's shoulders. And in what should be a high-scoring game in Sacramento, I think Lillard's a pretty safe play tonight. You know who's been playing pretty well? You know who played really well the other night? Ben McLemore.
I was going to let you say it, and you didn't even call him by his true name.
LOL more.
Yeah, what happened with that? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. See, I can't roster him because I'm so scarred by Ben Mac LOL more. But I found a caveat. On Victiv, they have that sub spot. Ben McLemore is in my sub spot tonight because he's right below 5K. So I've got Ben McLemore on a roster tonight as a sub.
Well, you're easing your way back into it.
Yeah. They're easing me back into action. You had 30 DraftKings points against the Spurs.
I haven't figured out the Victiv yet. I'm playing the Victron tonight, though.
I haven't either. I was telling you pre-show, I'm playing a lot of cash game. I'm going to go towards more of a cash game approach this month, just out of curiosity. I'm going to play some more on the smaller sites, Victiv, Fantasy Aces, as well as DraftKings and FanDuel, and see kind of how I do with a multiple site format. So I was going through there today, and it helps in preparation for these shows if you kind of notice the pricing amongst the different sites. And Ben McLemore, I noticed him there, had some pretty good game logs the last couple times out. I still don't trust him, but he's good enough to be my sub on Victiv tonight, so we'll see how that goes. All
right. Mine is Mitch McGarry. He's my sub tonight over on Victiv. We'll get to him in a minute. This just in from Bob Cooney76, who is a Sixers beat writer. He says Noel will give it a shot tonight.
He's going to give it a go.
He's going to give it a go.
I still don't think you can trust him specifically.
No, but it makes me happier for my early all-day lock fan.
Yeah, there you go. That's
That's
the
all
positive
the
development.
exposure I need to have.
Watch him get 50 now.
If that works, I will collect the money and be happy. Let's see here. Back to Portland. Wesley Matthews shooting some ungodly, like 34% since the All-Star break. Just putrid. He's a 45% career shooter, and that's what he is on the season. Did you know, Cards, that the Sacramento Kings and Ben McLemore, are the worst in the league against the shooting guard position from a
Yeah,
fantasy perspective?
they've been abused at times, yes.
So I actually like Wesley Matthews in particular on DraftKings. I think he's going to be under-owned. I think this is a nice little get-healthy game for him.
Is he, just as a theory thing here, with his performance kind of since the All-Star break, is he pressing with Afflalo around? Is he afraid he's going to lose minutes, or is he just in a slump? I mean, I could be overanalyzing here, but
I think he's just in a slump. Here, let's look at his game log. He's getting the minutes, and he had some good high volume shot attempts. I mean, last game he was 2 for 13. The game before that he was 11 for 18. So I mean, he's taking shots. He's playing in the mid-30s still, and frankly, they're going to need him even with the fall there. So I don't know. I mean, maybe just the funk. Maybe I would. It just seems.
And he's always tended to do that a little bit, a little hit or miss at times, a little funky, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't mind him.
If there's a get right game, like you said, this is the opponent to have that against.
Yes, and I kind of wanted some exposure in this game, and really outside of Lillard, I found him to be the best way to get there. I'm not a believer in Batum. Aldridge, I'm nervous about him now. He's got issues with both thumbs. Cousins probably isn't going to play. I don't know that they'll need a full load of Aldridge tonight if they can get out ahead early. And Robin Lopez. Would you play Robin Lopez or one of the New Orleans cheap guys, knowing that Lopez is 20-25% cheaper across the industry?
I'd still probably go with one of the New Orleans guys. I saw a little blurb this morning. Robin Lopez, his usage rate since he came back is something like 12 or 11. It's not good. So can't deny that the matchup is better with Cousins likely out. So I can't fault you if you want to use him. I just don't think there's a whole lot of upside there. I mean, he hasn't hit 30 on DraftKings since the 5th of February, so almost a full month. Obviously, he doesn't need to hit 30 at 3.8K. I do think, some sites his price really hasn't gone down lately. I do think if there is a place to play him, I think DraftKings is a decent spot at where he's 3.8K.
What about Chris Kaman at the bare minimum, 3,000?
I don't think I can go there. Only if Aldridge were for to some reason sit.
Okay, fair enough. Anybody else from Portland, or shall we discuss the rest of the Kings?
Let's discuss the rest of the Kings. We've already touched on Ben Mac LOL more, so we don't have to talk about him anymore.
And McCallum is a nice punt at point guard. Lillard tends to give it up, so that's all right. Boogie is most likely out, which means Rudy Gay is going to get like 50 points. But wait, he didn't. He only had like 27 his last game. What happened there? Are you afraid of him? Was that just a funky game for him? Where do you stand on Rudy Gay tonight?
I hope everyone goes off the bandwagon given the last game. I think he'll be fine. The usage should be there tonight. And again, this is operating under the assumption that Cousins is not going to play, which at this point I don't know why the Kings would risk it with Cousins. So yes, I think Rudy Gay is fine. I think you should see a 40-plus fantasy point performance tonight in what should be a high-scoring game. I mean, they don't really have, with Collison out, with Cousins likely out, they don't really have a whole bunch of other scorers. I mean, I guess Ben McLemore could be a guy that shoots the ball a lot, but I think Rudy Gay's fine. I think he's going to have a nice night.
All right. Jason Thompson. Is there any reason not to just plug Jason Thompson in everywhere?
No, I think he's a really solid play. I mean, since Carl took over, let's see, I think he's got back-to-back double-doubles. Obviously, the last one was without Cousins. 10 and 11 with 4 blocks on the 25th, and 12 and 11 with a block on the 27th, and those two games came against Memphis and San Antonio. So pretty good games and some not the best matchups for Jason Thompson. He's still entirely too cheap. He's 4K on DraftKings. I think he's 4.4K or something like that on FanDuel. So Jason Thompson would be kind of my pick as the big man value play of the night.
All right.
Have we gotten to your super sneaky guy yet, by the way?
We have not. Cousins is ruled out.
Fair enough. That makes me all the more confident in Rudy Gay and Thompson.
Yep, I see it in our chat as well as I've confirmed it on Twitter, so we are good on that. Carl Landry, no. Reggie Evans, why? I guess that's about it. All right, so you're playing cash games cards. What percentage is Rudy Gay on your lineups?
All of them, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've got him everywhere.
What about Jason Thompson? Half? More than half?
Yeah, 75 maybe. I think there was one place I didn't play him, but it's not hitting me now. I know I didn't go 100% on him.
Okay. Just curious. What about Lillard?
Like 20%, 25%. There's just a lot of point guards tonight. It's not that I don't like him.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you think about Orlando and Charlotte? Mo Williams, we kind of hit on 5,900 on DraftKings. Where do you stand on Mo Williams versus DJ Augustine on? I'm sorry, 5,900 on FanDuel, 64 on DraftKings. Where do you count them on draft? Where they're very closely priced together on FanDuel. How do you feel about Mo versus DJ?
I kind of like Augustine a little bit better. If you look at the matchups, both of them have pretty good matchups, with Charlotte facing Orlando, OKC facing the Lakers. But there's just going to be such an offensive bump for the rest of Oklahoma City with no Westbrook and no Durant. That's such a large portion of their offense that I think that gives Augustine the edge. And that game should be played at a faster pace. It's got an over-under that's, I think double digits higher than the Charlotte-Orlando game is. So in that scenario, I like Augustine. I think he's a little bit more talented as well. But it's kind of splitting hairs for me. I have pretty good exposure to both guys.
All right. Gerald Henderson, no. I'm voting no. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, yes. He's got a pretty good base, and if his shot is falling cards, he can get 40 burgers. Cody Zeller, no. Al Jefferson. Let's talk Al Jefferson. He's averaging just a shade under 40 fantasy points per game against the Magic this year. There's only one clear-cut center option, and that would be the counterpart, Nicholas Vucevic. But if you can't get Vucevic on your team, are you going with Jefferson, or are you dropping below that to some of the New Orleans guys?
I wouldn't have a problem doing that, but I do like Jefferson tonight. If you look at his game log the last couple, not outstanding, not terrible, but not the Al Jefferson stats that you're used to. 14-8, 16-7 the last couple games, just kind of meh. But Orlando is a nice recipe for big men to get healthy against. And with Jefferson all the way down to 7.4K on DraftKings, if I was choosing between him and Vucevic there, I think I'd take Jefferson with the 1,200 savings. On FanDuel, there was only 400 difference in price between the two, and I think you got to go with Vucevic there, given that price difference. But on DraftKings, I like Jefferson, so that's kind of how I rate them tonight. I think they'll both be solid options. I think they're definitely the top two priced plays at center, with Cousins ruled out. So and Cantor we don't know about. So you have a pretty big drop off after those two guys. So those are the two that I'm kind of looking at the most.
All right. Anybody else from Charlotte?
I don't think so. I don't trust the wings. You kind of touched on Henderson. Lance Stevenson hasn't done anything. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is priced appropriately for me now. I don't really like any of the power forwards splitting time. So to me, it's Mo Williams and Jefferson, the guys I'm looking at.
All right, we're revisiting Wesley Matthews. Someone was saying this in chat, but I didn't quite catch it, and I've now looked it up. It says that Wesley Matthews has a brace on his right hand, which he injured late against Oklahoma City. It doesn't say anything about him not playing. But
He's a gamer. It'd take a lot for him to sit.
Well, here's one for you. He decided he was not going to get an X-ray on his hand.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
So, just full disclosure there. Full disclosure. Great matchup, but who knows? Let's talk Orlando. Vucevic, and that's it for me. I didn't end up on Harris. I keep going elsewhere. I don't have Oladipo. I don't like his price, and there's just too many other point guards to look at for me to even consider Elfrid Payton.
I totally agree with you on Payton tonight, not even on my radar. I do like Oladipo. He's been really consistent. If you look at his last 10 on DraftKings, this will surprise a lot of people. If you look at Oladipo's last 10 games, 27 is his lowest point total. He's averaging 30 fantasy points a game for the season, but over his last 10, that average is about 3 points higher, and his lowest game is 27. So I like the consistency there. I think he's a good cash game play, not going to hurt your lineup, probably get you somewhere around 30, 35 again tonight. So I don't love him. You know, like you said, the matchup isn't the greatest, but he's been super consistent of late. So I think Oladipo is kind of in play as your number 2 option from Orlando tonight. But I don't like any of the others, other than Vucevic, obviously.
Yes. All right. Then let's get on to a game here with a little more excitement. We're going to have a fair amount of time. We'll find out something to go off topic here, Cards. But Oklahoma City and the Lakers. Let's start with the Lakers first.
Get that out of the way.
Jordan Clarkson has been good lately. Did you know that Oklahoma City, there's only one team that gives up more points to point guards, and that's the Lakers? This is an equally good matchup for Jordan Clarkson as it is for DJ Augustine. Thoughts on Jordan Clarkson? And I'm not calling him Jordan Crawford tonight. Did you know
I do expect some regression here. I mean, he's shooting 60+% from the floor over the last 2 weeks. I don't think he's going to continue that type of shooting, but he's getting the minutes for the most part, and the peripheral stats are pretty good. He's pretty consistently getting 4 rebounds, 3, 4, 5 assists to go along with double-digit points a game. So I don't mind him as a cheaper option at point guard tonight. Again, I don't love it because there's so many good point guards, but I'm not going to fault you if you take him. Certainly the matchup sets up well, and he's trending in the right direction.
All right, and that literally is all I've got for the Lakers.
That's literally it for me as well. I don't love it.
Yeah, Wayne Ellington not consistent enough. Carlos Boozer, who knows? Ed Davis, who knows? Robert Sacre doesn't get enough minutes. Ryan Kelly probably should be in the D-League. Yeah. All right, now to fantasy goodness. And, thank you to, who is it? JW. I asked him to remind me to have us make a DK lineup. We'll do that. We'll have some fun with that.
Yeah, that's always. First of all, let's get this out of the way. If you're playing tonight, you have to roster somebody from Oklahoma City, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You can't not take anyone from the Thunder tonight. You have to take someone.
I think DJ Augustine, you have to take him for the block.
Especially on DK. I mean,
on DK, you have to 4,100. I mean, he costs what 60% more on DraftKings, or pardon me, on FanDuel than he does on DraftKings.
He's 6,700 on FanDuel, so wildly different discussion over there.
Yeah.
4,100 on DraftKings. I think he's the first guy you plug in.
Absolutely. I think we can avoid Robertson. I think we can avoid Singler. How are you with Singler?
No.
Okay. Sergei
that train has gone off the tracks.
Yes, that was a fiery. Speaking of trains going off the tracks, that was a fiery crash for my Ursan Ilyasova double death train last night. So
he wasn't terrible, was he?
Well, him and Bargnani just didn't. They didn't combine for 80 fantasy points. That's what I was hoping for. I didn't win the trip to Boston for DraftKings.
But they both outscored Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, that was another guy on that team. So there we go. Anyway, I think Ibaka's one guy you put in all your lineups too tonight.
Yes, I would agree. We've seen him have some pretty good games since the break. So I think Augustine, if we're specifically going DraftKings, I think Augustine at the price is the number 1 guy. Ibaka's the number 2 guy, and then Dion Waiters would be the 3rd guy I would choose, simply because he should get a lot of minutes. They're going to need an ancillary scorer besides those other guys. Morrow and Robertson are not the answers as scorers. Singler is not the answer as a scorer either. So even if he continues to come off the bench, I still think Waiters will be fine. In a similar mold to a guy like Isaiah Thomas, where it really doesn't hurt his value, even if he's coming off the bench, because if he's playing at the times where Augustine and Ibaka are not on the floor, he's going to take a ton of shots.
I'm just looking here. Nothing new on Enes Kanter news.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything today at all, really, on him. And it seemed like the last game when they sat him, it was kind of a last-minute decision, and it was just a thigh bruise, so it doesn't seem like much. It's a really good matchup. I mean, if you can leave a utility spot open for him, I think he could have a good game if he plays. I don't think he'll be highly owned, given the fact that right now we don't know anything. So it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's not playing. I'm going with that thought. Yeah, that kind of covers this game.
Yeah, that's about it for me. I mean, we talked about the Lakers guys. Not a ton to love there. And then OKC, those 3 guys are kind of the guys that I'm looking to.
All right, let's go to Denver here. So Zen786 wants to know, what about Will Barton? And I'm looking at him here. Nice game logs. 27 DraftKings points, 39, 21, 22. That seems to be pretty solid.
I don't know. I just can't trust the Nuggets lately with all their guys. I mean, J.J. Hickson was a popular play the other night and was a complete dud. I get the same vibe from him that I got from Henry Walker last night, and fading Henry Walker kind of worked out well yesterday, so I'm going to do the same thing with Barton here.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, you can't argue with the recent games, but
I've got another guy in this game that we'll get to in a second that's the same price, same position we want to talk about.
Is that your guy?
That would be my guy, but I need to be talked out of him. We'll get to him in a second. So let's finish this off. Ty Lawson.
Oh, I should know. I should realize now from your email last night.
You absolutely should.
Yeah.
Ty Lawson.
It just hit me.
For those of you that don't know, there was a glitch in the Matrix, which is why we're going old school here. Dan forgot to schedule anybody to work today. So Justin and I jumped in at the last second here, only because Justin has a guy he really wants to talk about that we're going to get to in a second.
Pinning it on me now.
That's what we call a teaser. Okay, back to this.
Everyone wants you to tease Quincy Pondexter to death.
Yes. Ty Lawson, come on. No one's going to play him.
This is true, including me.
Yeah, I don't have him on any teams. I just got to throw him out there. What about Gallinari? Joffrey Lavergne.
That guy.
Lavergne.
Oh, boy. Gallinari is really the only Denver guy I've got tonight, I think.
Yeah.
I'm a little scorned. I'm a little apprehensive.
I don't even have him on any teams. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. I have no Denver at the moment, although Will Barton is looking kind of tempting, so we'll see. I got to make some GPPs after this. So if you're looking at shooting guard and you're looking for a discount, Carts, can I interest you in Coupon?
Let's just get it out of the way. Where did he attend college?
University of Washington superstar Quincy Pondexter has re-entered the starting lineup as part of the injuries to the brow and to Ryan Anderson, and he's actually looked pretty solid. He, along with Dante Cunningham, have kind of jumped in the starting lineup, and they're both playing about 40-50% minutes than their prices reflect. Pondexter's had 2 really good games. He has been so hit or miss in his pro career. I don't know what to do. Of course, I started him out in all my lineups just because, it's Quincy Pondexter. But he's been shooting 65% over his last 2 games, Cards. I don't think that's going to keep up. He also has issues with fouls. He doesn't pass the ball, so he's pretty much all about scoring.
Sounds like a ringing endorsement.
It sounds like, wait for it, Ben Mac. LOL more.
There you go, a great comparison, and also a ringing endorsement.
Yes. So where do you stand on Quincy Pondexter? Can I just be talked out of him now?
I don't think he's that horrible of a play. So I know that doesn't help talking you off of him. No, I don't think he's that horrible against Denver at that price.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go nuts and put him on all your teams, but if he fits and you
At
like
this
to look
point,
at
he's
those two.
he's DraftKings only. I've got him on Victiv too, but that's it. I don't have him on FanDuel or anywhere else.
Victiv is an interesting site because their cap is kind of tight. So if he's super cheap over there, I don't remember his price when I built my lineups over there.
Yeah, he's not super cheap, but he's about as cheap as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Sometimes their pricing is a little wonky, like Jason, or not wonky, but it's different, which is fine. But like Jason Thompson was not cheap there, which, I mean, he wasn't overly priced. I just haven't cracked the code on their site.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it is. I like the concept of the sub. I just can't. You can't really go stars and scrubs there. I just can't get a good feel for it. So that's where I made all my money in football in their last GPP, but I haven't done much there in NBA, so I've just been dabbling. But I am taking on the Victron tonight, so we'll see. I think I've won all but one against the Victron so far, and I've got 2 more tickets left. But anyway, so Quincy Pondexter is a maybe. What about Dante Cunningham? 3,400 small forward on DraftKings.
I don't think you can. I don't think. I'd pay the little bit extra and take Jason Thompson.
Okay. But Jason Thompson is not a small forward.
Oh, freaky! I thought they had him listed as a power forward.
No. Cunningham's power forward on FanDuel. He's small forward on.
Yeah. I just don't.
Small
You'd
forward
talk. If I had to pick between the two, I'd feel more comfortable with Pondexter.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I probably wouldn't take both. I think that might be a little extreme.
I would agree. I would also, I mean, this just kind of goes to show you have to play Rudy Gay. You just kind of have to tonight because small forward's a mess. Tyreek Evans. Here's another point guard that's not going to be highly owned.
I don't know. I think he will. I think he will be somewhat highly owned. Maybe not extremely high. Certainly not as high as Augustine or Mo Williams or guys like that. But I think he'll be really good. I mean, he should have a high usage rate. Denver is not good defensively. I think he's a nice high upside play tonight. I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all to see Tyreek hit 50.
Really? Okay. I'm not against that. I'm
not saying he will hit 50. I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me if he hit 50. I mean, he's got his last 3, 39, 43, and 41, so it's not like I'm going out on a huge limb there to say, it wouldn't shock me if he hit 50. But his price has come up, so he's not like an auto play by any means. But I think he's a good play.
All right. What about Omar Asik or Alexis Ajinka?
Yeah, I think that's the big question of the day. If you're deciding between those two guys and you peg it right, you're probably going to be ahead of the game. So, I mean, I guess you could just avoid it. Both guys are kind of playing a shade over 24 minutes. They play them together, but not a lot. But Denver is not good defensively against bigs. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Omer. We all know that Ajinka is up and down, always in foul trouble. Omer tends to be a little steadier, so maybe split him between your cash games and your GPPs because they're on DraftKings they're the exact same price.
Yes. I have them as part of my New Orleans stack on DraftKings.
Interesting.
We'll see what happens.
Ready for baseball season.
I am. So we'll see. I'm sure I won't be the only one doing that. Eric Gordon kind of rounds out the last of the New Orleans guys. I think he's a good play. His price has come up. he hasn't really been hitting his shots, but he's still kind of flirting with mid-30s fantasy points. I think he's a fine play, and he's going against the dumpster fire known as Denver.
Always helps.
Always good. All right, let's quickly rip through the rapid-fire draft, then we'll build a lineup, and we'll answer some questions. This is kind of a weird one, so we'll go a little quickly. I don't know, there's nothing worth fighting over on this one, but Mo Williams or Ty Lawson?
Believe it or not, I think I'll take Mo Williams.
You're supposed to say, give me some Mo.
Give me some Mo.
Nikolai Vucevic or LaMarcus Aldridge?
I'll take Vucevic.
Indeed. Rudy Gay or Al Jefferson?
Rudy Gay.
Wayne Ellington or Wesley Matthews?
I think it'd be a really good discussion if it was Clarkson against Matthews, but Ellington, I don't think so. I'll take Matthews. Despite the injury.
And Jay Crowder, who we didn't really mention that much because we're not playing him too much, or Dante Cunningham. There's Dante Cunningham.
I'll take Cunningham. Yeah, I think he's.
I don't really have a dog in that fight, so we'll go Cunningham. So Williams, Vucevic, Gay, Wesley Matthews. We agree on all those, and then I'm ambivalent on Crowder or Cunningham. So we actually we won one, lost one last night, Cards. So
I feel good about that. I feel good about that one right there.
Okay. Well, you feel good about that. Oh, that means I got to put it in the rapid fire too, or in the max.
Disclaimer: don't come at me if it doesn't win. But I feel good about it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to chat.
Oh yes. Well, chat comes after us all the time.
Can I do I have to do a quick plug.
Okay, do a quick plug.
Those of you that listen to the XM show at night, I'm doing my first XM show with Dan tomorrow night. I'm gonna do the XM shows on Monday nights going forward. So.
Very nice. That's exciting.
Yeah, it was. Dan asked me if I could handle 1 day a week. Al's gonna move towards doing the GrindersLive shows as opposed to flipping back and forth between GrindersLive and the XM. So Beer's gonna pick up an extra day, and I'm gonna hop on there with Dan on Mondays, and maybe an extra day or so when tax season gets over with. But it'd be nice to get the feet wet there.
Indeed, I'm excited. That's very cool. All right, let's ask a few questions or answer a few questions. DJ, and now hold on, I gotta hit the way back here. I have this little special thing that allows me to pause chat and go backwards 200 messages at a time. Yes. So when I say I'm hitting the way back machine, but the downside is
literally hitting the way back machine.
I literally am, but then because I'm so far up, I can never catch up unless I scroll through very quickly. But let's see. Should I change my lineup with Enes Kanter in it? This is the man from 90210 saying that. Yes, you absolutely should. Don't play with fire.
Yeah, if you're on DraftKings, you can wait if you got the late swap, but anywhere else, no, you can't risk it.
All right. Tyreek Evans and Stuckey or Mo Williams and Klay Thompson? That's a good one from Crazy Locks. I'm going Evans and Stuckey.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I don't think you can go wrong there. I'm kind of torn between them. I think they're relatively equal.
This is from H2WM says Ajinça was 20% owned in the all-day slam. Interesting.
That seems high. I'd feel comfortable fading at that ownership percentage, especially since that was the all-day, which would have included DeAndre Jordan, Mozgov, Noah, some guys that, especially Jordan, would have been somewhat highly owned.
I was facing a ton of Jordan.
Yeah, so he might be 25-30% in the night slates, and we all know that he can bust. If you're looking tournament-wise, I'd fade for tournament lineups, obviously not cash, but.
All right, Flutie for Prez says Lauryn Hill is greater than Jordan Hill.
Is that a joke? That's a joke I don't get, I'm afraid.
Oh, Lauryn Hill? The miseducation of Lauryn Hill from the Fugees, Killing Me Softly. She has a bunch of songs.
Yeah, that'd be why.
Okay. You got to listen to something besides talk radio, Cards.
I do, but I was raised on a family that, listens to country music and just doesn't watch a ton of movies. I'm out of the pop culture stuff.
That's okay. That's what Dean and I are here for, Cards. That's what we're here for. I'm taking care of you on the weekends. Dean gets you during the weekdays. We'll get you up to speed here. It's all right. Waiters or Will Barton for cash games?
Oh, for heavens, waiters.
Definitely waiters. You're no beer man. I don't know who that is. Congratulations, Cards. See, the chat likes to hear that you'll be on the show. Cards, do you do your own taxes?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Barton or Coupon? I'm going Coupon, but
I think that's close. I think that's a toss-up. Salt to taste, as you would say, right?
As I like to say, salt to taste. That's always key. That looks like it for the question. So let's build the team here. We got 7 minutes left. Now, chat, you know the rules. We don't like to, we're going to quote air quotes build a team here because it's we don't want to give out full lineups. It's the only reason we don't do this a lot. So we will give you a few options. Well, let's go. I'm calling up we're going to go into the $1 tournament here. Cards. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow. What's up with DraftKings? It's kind of slow today.
That would be probably at this point Hangouts. Hangouts does weird things to your internet connection, and it's hard to navigate websites.
EMac, what do you do for a living? Well, that's a good question. While we're filling a little time here, I started out in accounting and finance. I spent about a decade in that world. I, too, am a CPA, like Cards, though I did not practice tax. And now I work in HR, and I am a compensation analyst. So I oversee bonus plans, merit raises, stock plans. And I also know what all you turkeys make, because it's my job to determine what we should pay for specific jobs or skill sets. Not necessarily the individual in them, but the actual, like if you're a staff accountant versus a tax accountant versus a tax manager, or if you're an electrical engineer versus a, whatever you are. So that's what I do. It's pretty cool. I know where all the bodies are buried.
So, do you know, do you have a breakdown by region, or?
There's all sorts of good data. It's called market surveys, so you can participate in them and purchase them at a discount, or you can just buy them outright. And you can get data cuts by region, by industry, by revenue cuts, like over $1 billion, $500 million to $1 billion, $10 billion, over 10,000 people, etc. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And the one good thing that you never get shortchanged on your own pay, because you know what you should be making. So when I go interviewing, it's fun. I always say, hey, I'm in comp. Don't lowball me, or you're not going to hear from me again. So we get a little bit of a premium. Okay, so we're going to start with, shall we go with DJ Augustine, just so we can kind of mirror and see what the obvious players are going to be here, Cards?
Sure, let's start with him and Ibaka then.
Okay, so, and we'll probably should put in Rudy Gay, and then let's go from there.
Okay.
All right, shooting guard. We could go with Oladipo at 6,600, Klay Thompson at 7,700, or we could go down to someone like Stuckey or Waiters.
Well, I don't think you'd have to play Waiters there, since you already have 2 guys from OKC. I don't know if you have to play 3. If you want to get... Well, I guess it depends. Are we going with one of the bigger centers, or are we going with one of the New Orleans centers? That would depend.
Let's go with one of the bigger ones, because I think less people are going to do that.
Okay, so then let's go cheap at shooting guard then. So,
right.
Stuckey?
Stuckey sounds good.
Okay, and then... Now, my philosophy was on DraftKings with the 1,200 savings, you take Jefferson.
I would agree. Yeah, I'm totally on board with that.
So you have a starting 5 there, right? That has a guy at every position. And so what are we left with?
We are left with 18-3. Let me just see here. I'm seeing who's pinging me. Just make sure we're not getting in trouble for doing this. All right. Not that we'd get in trouble, Cards, because this is an unauthorized, pirated show. Just me and you. Okay, so guard. We could go with Steph Curry and go cheap at a couple other places. We could go with Tyreek Evans. Ooh, Tyreek Evans or Steph Curry? 2K cheaper for Tyreek Evans. I think we go Tyreek.
I would take Evans.
All right. I'm just going to get chat back up here to see what they think. And then forward. Here's one guy we didn't talk about. Mitch McGary. Good, good, good. Horrible, good.
I think he's got nice upside tonight, especially if Cantor sits. I don't think you can plug him in, not specifically knowing the status of Cantor. I would say let's go with the obvious, the Jason Thompson. Throw him in there at forward.
All right. And that leaves us 6,600. Which
there you go. On DraftKings, that's perfect range on DraftKings if you want to play Mo Williams.
We can play Mo Williams. We can play Oladipo. We can play Harris. Potentially, you could play West. If Noel was healthy, he would be my pick. I think we got to go with Mo Williams.
I would take Mo Williams.
All right. So there we go. I think we're going to see a lot of this lineup tonight.
I do. I think you'll see a lot of people with a similar.
And let's do one. We're going to make one more cards, but this time we're going to put Ajinça in there for our center and see what happens with that. Just to give people a little thing here. Sorry, the internet's a little slow on DraftKings. I should have just got my other computer out. I've had to do that from time to time when the lag's so slow.
Side-by-side lineup building?
Pretty much. And then you start typing on one keyboard, but you really need to be on the other, or the mouse. You move the mouse and it's not moving because it's not hooked up to that. Because I have the double monitor set up and all that fun.
It's amazing how efficient we can be when we want to be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of funny. Once you have two monitors, you can't go back. All right. Sorry for the delay.
At your office, do you have two? Do you have more than two?
I just have two.
We've got the trifecta at our place.
Do you really?
I don't know. Three. I barely use my third monitor. I mean, I only have two eyes, so it's hard. But my third monitor, I actually, I use my third monitor portrait style, so it stands like this. In the world of accounting, it's sometimes nice to see a tax form on a whole page. Yeah, because you can see the whole page on your screen at once. That's neither here nor there, but yeah, we've got three monitors, so I really can't see over my desk very much. I mean, I'm not tall or anything, and I've got three monitors sitting there.
All right, here we go. So if we take out Al Jefferson and we put in Ajinça, that leaves us with 9,100, and we can go with Aldridge or Vucevic or Damian Lillard. So let's play around with another position. Let's get for a more expensive. What do you say? Shooting guard. Eric Gordon.
All right. I closed DraftKings, so you'll have to guide me.
So tell me who you like better: Eric Gordon, Wesley Matthews, or Stuckey or Waiters.
If we didn't put Waiters on the other lineup, I'd probably do that.
All right. And then do you want to come off of Ibaka or Augustine if we do that?
I'd probably come off Ibaka first.
All right. So let's put Jason Thompson in there at our cheap power forward. And now this leaves us with 18K, so we can pretty much play whomever we want. So I would then put Steph Curry in, and then probably people have to monkey around with this. Maybe
and I think that's a good way to go for a GPP, a guy like Curry. Again, I don't think he'll be highly owned tonight.
Yeah, chat. You'll have to kind of play around with it. This is a good one because this won't make the lineup for you. Because then you got 8,300, you got a forward spot, and your next best guy is Sergei Ibaka. So you could bounce around and do some different stuff with that one. And see, that way we didn't give somebody an exact lineup because most people are not going to leave 500 on the table or 600 on the table.
I'll leave 600 on the table on DraftKings.
I have no problem with it. The interesting thing is, and I saw this question a couple times in chat this weekend, they ask if it's okay to not use all your salary. Absolutely.
Like they don't stop building their lineups until it's down to $0?
It seemed to be that they didn't want to leave more than a couple hundred.
It's okay to do that, folks. You
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, and we've seen some people take down some tournaments by doing it that way. On a night like tonight, when there's not a ton of superstars, you can definitely do that. Let's see here, cards. I'm going to look one more time here and see if there's any more news, but then we're going to get out of here because we've got. When does lineup? Oh, lineup locked at 6. I was thinking 6:30.
Nope, it's 6. You're down to 27 minutes.
Kelly Olynyk is out. Festus Ezeli. Oh yeah, he choked somebody the other night, so he's suspended for a game. And then that's it. Still no news officially on Cantner yet. There's still nothing even on the Twittersphere. Very weird.
That is strange.
And the only news I could find, maybe I don't think I was spelling his name wrong. The only news I could find was from 2 days ago. So weird.
Yeah, that's all I've seen myself too.
Okay. Oh, Evan Fournier is confirmed out. Also. All right. I think that's it, cards. I think we've walked our charges through the fun. We've led them through the haunted forest, and we'll see what happens on the other side. Curious to see what happens next week after you've got a week under your belt of trying out your new sites. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Well, yeah, it sounds good. Good luck tonight, everybody. Should be a much more entertaining night than that slate we had last night. So hopefully things go well for all of you out there. And as always, thanks for watching.
All right. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring the show. Thank you, Roto-Grinders, for giving us this wonderful platform to share all of our fantasy knowledge. Thank you, chat, for being interactive with us. It's always fun when you're not just sitting here talking to yourself. For STL Cards, I am EMac. Good luck, gamers.